None of this is true. The podcast thriller explained. The hum of the King's Head was warm and familiar, a Friday night blanket against the autumn chill. Alix Summer, celebrating her 45th, raised her glass, the clinking a cheerful counterpoint to the pub's general din. It was a good life, a happy life. 2 beautiful children, a supportive husband, and a thriving podcast that indulged her passion for true crime. Then she met Josie Fair. Across the crowded room, amongst the boisterous chatter and the clinking glasses, Josie stood out. Not because she was particularly striking, quite the opposite in fact, but because she held Alix's gaze with an intensity that felt unexpected. Josie, it transpired, was also celebrating her 45th, a bizarre coincidence that felt less like a pleasant happenstance and more like a carefully orchestrated performance. Birthday twins, they were. A curious start to an even stranger connection. A few days later, outside the school gates, the red brick building looming large against a grey sky, Josie re-entered Alix's life. "I listened to your podcast," Josie said, her voice surprisingly soft, a stark contrast to the unsettling directness of her stare. Alix, juggling school bags and herding her children, politely acknowledged the compliment, but Josie wasn't finished. "I think I could be a fascinating subject for you, Alix. My life, it's about to change, and change it did for both of them." Josie became a fixture in Alix's life, a constant shadow flickering around the edges. Their podcast recordings morphed into uneasy conversations, the bright studio lights reflecting in Josie's unnervingly placid eyes. Alix found herself drawn into Josie's world, a world brimming with quiet desperation, unspoken secrets, and an unsettling air of instability. Josie's life, as she slowly revealed it, was a labyrinth of muted tones and unexplained silences, a narrative that felt incomplete, like a puzzle with too many missing pieces. There was a vulnerability to Josie, a fragility that played on Alix's inherent empathy. Despite her unease, Alix found herself wanting to understand, wanting to help. She saw a wounded bird, not realizing that the bird carried talons capable of inflicting untold damage. Josie, in her unassuming way, infiltrated Alix's life, her presence becoming as familiar as the scent of morning coffee. She became a guest in their home, a confidant, a whispered voice in the otherwise harmonious melody of Alix's life. Then, as abruptly as she arrived, Josie vanished. One day she was there, a quiet presence in the background. The next, she was gone, leaving behind a void filled with a palpable sense of dread. The comfortable rhythm of Alix's life was shattered, replaced by a jarring dissonance. The initial relief that Josie was gone quickly dissolved into a chilling realization. The podcast episodes, once a source of pride and professional fulfillment, became a haunting echo of a story that had spiraled out of control. Alix, the interviewer, had unknowingly become the subject, trapped in a narrative orchestrated by Josie. The microphones were still recording, but the spotlight had shifted, illuminating Alix and her family in a harsh, unforgiving light. Josie's legacy was not one of shared confidences and professional collaboration, but of simmering fear and unspeakable vulnerability. The safety she had so carefully curated for her family was shattered, leaving her questioning everything she thought she knew about the world, about trust, and about the true depths of human darkness. Now Alix must confront the chilling question that Josie's disappearance has thrust upon her. Who was Josie Fair, really? And what has she done? The answer, she knows, lies buried beneath layers of deception, waiting to unleash its devastating truth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more book summaries and insights. Feel free to check out another video or dive into the full playlist you see now for more great book summaries. Click now and keep exploring.